The heyday of American fast food is crumbling before our very eyes. These institutions, which once defined family outings, teenage employment, and late-night food runs, are now fighting for their very survival. Costs have ballooned, customer traffic has evaporated, and an unprecedented number of franchise owners are giving up. Across the board, from the burger joints to the chicken spots, the very system that defined American convenience is now in flames. Pinched by inflation, corporate avarice, and shifting consumer demands, 2025 is proving to be the year the drive-through model finally breaks down. The real concern isn't which chain falls next, but who will manage to stay standing. Kicking off our list at number 15, we have Denny's, the diner that was once the quintessential all-night haven for blue-collar workers, long-haul truckers, and college students cramming for exams is rapidly disappearing. In 2025, the chain famous for its always-open promise is quietly turning off the lights for good. Nationwide, plans are in place to permanently close nearly 180 Denny's restaurants by year's end. The culprits are crippling operational costs, a dramatic drop in diners, and a clientele that is financially tapped out. A Grand Slam breakfast that was once $7.99 is now pushing past $14. The once endless coffee refills now come with a hesitant server and an extra charge. The dedicated late-night crowd that used to pack the booths at 3 a.m. has been replaced by vacant tables and for rent signs in the windows. Even the company's own leadership concedes that the overnight business model has fallen apart. A huge number of their locations can no longer find workers willing to keep the doors open around the clock. For small towns across the heartland, the loss of a Denny's is a major blow, representing not just a closed restaurant but the erasure of a community hub. These establishments were once major local employers. They provided budget-friendly meals for families on tight incomes and offered a slice of classic Americana to people on the road. Now, the parking lots that glowed with their neon signs are pitch black. On the financial front, Denny's saw same-store sales tumble by 5.8% compared to the previous year. Furthermore, profits plunged by almost 40% in the first part of 2025. Its core base of budget-conscious diners is being wiped out by inflation, while increased labor and property costs have obliterated their profit margins. Franchisees themselves are abandoning ship. The harsh reality is that Denny's isn't just bleeding customers, it's becoming obsolete. The younger demographic isn't interested in greasy spoon breakfasts. They're looking for smoothie shops, protein bowls, and cafes with good Wi-Fi. The classic American diner, a concept once celebrated in film and popular culture, is now becoming an icon of decay, a relic from a version of America that has faded away. At number 14, Wahlburgers. An enterprise that launched as a high-profile celebrity venture has devolved into a stark lesson in market realities. Wahlburgers, originally sold as a taste of Hollywood, is buckling under the exact pressures that are crushing the industry. These pressures include escalating costs, exorbitant rents, and a shrinking customer base in the middle class. By 2025, franchise data indicates a drop in foot traffic of over 30%, leading to the quiet shuttering of numerous locations from Nevada all the way to Florida. The celebrity allure that initially drew in crowds has now given way to signs that simply say temporarily closed. The core issue is straightforward yet fatal. For a family of 4, a single meal at Wahlburgers now rings up at an average of $58 before you even add drinks. In a strained economy where grocery prices have climbed 20%, consumers are fed up with paying premium restaurant prices for a simple burger. Not even the famous name can mask the grim financial picture. A number of franchise owners have initiated lawsuits alleging breach of contract, asserting that the parent company exaggerated the brand's potential while failing to provide adequate support. Out of the spotlight, the brand's customer rewards program has been discontinued. Its social media presence has gone dark, and the ambitious plan for 100 new U.S. stores has been discreetly erased from their corporate website. A significant number of their stores have become ghost kitchens, existing solely to fulfill orders from delivery services, a final, desperate move to stay afloat in a hyper-competitive space. The very celebrity status that propelled Wahlburgers to fame is now its greatest liability. In a nation where working families are watching every penny, nobody is willing to spend more just for a burger with Mark Wahlberg's name on it. Once seen as a symbol of celebrity fun, Wahlburgers is now another victim of the great American restaurant downturn, proving that even a Hollywood star can't keep a burger joint's lights on. Coming in at number 13 is Salad & Go. This chain was positioned to be the next big thing in fast food by offering options that were affordable, healthy, and fast. However, in 2025, this rapidly expanding business has slammed into a brick wall. The company grew at an unsustainable pace, rocketing from only 70 outlets in 2022 to almost 300 by 2025, and the consequences are now hitting hard. Multiple locations across Texas, Arizona, and Nevada have had to shut their doors due to out-of-control ingredient prices and major breakdowns in their supply chain. The business plan seemed genius at first, offer fresh salads for less than $6 from a compact drive-through only kiosk. But the economic climate had other plans. The cost of romaine lettuce jumped 40%. Avocados became 3 times as expensive, and the same customers who celebrated the cheap prices began sharing pictures of their now $11 salads. Profits vanished, and the initial excitement died with them. Staff members describe grueling work conditions and low pay, which has caused an employee turnover rate exceeding 150% each year. While investors once hailed it as the new Chipotle, industry analysts are now sounding the alarm that Salad and Go may not survive past 2026 without a massive corporate rescue. The most frustrating part is that the fundamental idea remains solid. Americans do want healthier options, but the timing is terrible, coming when people are struggling to cover basic needs like housing and fuel. A $12 salad has become an unaffordable luxury. And so, a concept that started as an inspiring startup has turned into a brutal education on economic fundamentals. You cannot create a nation of healthy eaters when a huge portion of the population can't even afford their lunch. Number 12 brings us to Boston Market. This chain was once America's beloved source for comfort food, offering rotisserie chicken, mashed potatoes, and gravy that tasted like a home-cooked meal. These days, it has become a textbook example of corporate failure. In 2025, the chain is on the verge of total collapse, having already shuttered over 400 restaurants since 2023, and it's being buried under an avalanche of lawsuits from unpaid employees and landlords. Boston Market, which was once worth billions, is now struggling to even pay its utility bills. The corporation was forcibly removed from its New Jersey headquarters for owing $1.2 million in back rent. In addition, state labor agencies have cited the company for numerous wage theft violations. In cities all over the country, you can find its former locations with faded branding, stripped kitchens, and no workers, just a closed for renovation sign that's been there for over a year. Revenue has nosedived by more than 70% since 2019, and its formerly loyal customer base has found other options. The company that helped invent the fast casual comfort food category is now a poster child for catastrophic mismanagement. In 2024, even its signature rotisserie chicken supply chain disintegrated. Poultry suppliers severed relationships with the company over millions of dollars in outstanding invoices. The brand's decline has been a deeply felt loss. Generations of families who made a tradition of sharing Boston Market during the holidays now drive past their derelict local store, where weeds are reclaiming the parking lot. The implosion goes beyond mere finances. It is symbolic. Boston Market represented a promise of home-style comfort in an increasingly hectic world. Now, it stands as another cold, empty building, a testament to how quickly the American dream can curdle. Number 11. Little Caesars. For generations, Little Caesars was the ultimate fallback for anyone broke and starving, with its $5 hot and ready pizza feeding countless households living paycheck to paycheck. But by 2025, that legendary deal is a thing of the past. The chain, once known for its unbeatable prices, has been battered by a convergence of inflation, supply shortages, and plummeting franchisee earnings. That iconic $5 pizza now costs $8.49 in the majority of markets, and customers are no longer buying it. Official company reports have confirmed that dozens of franchises have gone out of business in states like Michigan, Ohio, and Florida. Meanwhile, delivery orders, which had been the brand's main engine for growth, have plunged 18% from the previous year. The price of cheese has skyrocketed by nearly 40% since 2023, and the cost of pepperoni has hit an all-time high for a business model that depends on paper-thin margins. This is a death knell for the company. Even devoted fans are now complaining on social media that the hot and ready is neither hot nor ready. Stores are chronically short-staffed, wait times for delivery have doubled, and the food quality has taken a nosedive. Franchise owners are incensed, alleging that the corporate office is hiking their supply fees while turning a blind eye to their struggles on the ground. What makes the downfall of Little Caesars so heartbreaking is its unique position in the nation's culture. It was the affordable pizza that helped families get through tough economic times. Now, the very demographic that depended on it has been priced out of fast food altogether. The notion of an affordable treat is disappearing, being replaced by frozen pizzas from the supermarket. In 2025, Little Caesars feels less like a beacon of value and more like a memorial for it. The pizza ovens are still running, but the optimism has burned out. And at number 10, Taco Bell. Taco Bell's brand was built on a foundation of controlled chaos, from its outrageous menu items to its late-night crowds and youthful vibe. But as of 2025, that vibe has completely fizzled out. Customer visits have plunged by nearly 11%, and franchise operators are facing the thinnest profit margins in 2 decades. Ingredient prices have soared, new menu concepts have flopped, and the legendary $1 cravings menu has completely faded away. What used to be a $5.99 basic combo now sets back Gen Z and young millennial customers an average of $9.50. For Taco Bell's core audience, that price jump is simply unacceptable. Many have switched to more affordable options like snacks from the Dollar Tree or burritos from the grocery store. No amount of social media buzz can cover up these dismal numbers. It's anticipated that over 250 U.S. restaurants will either shut their doors or rebrand before 2025 is over. Behind closed doors, franchisees are fighting back fiercely. A lot of them are complaining about escalating franchise fees and supply chain expenses, blaming corporate greed for ruining the brand. And once a fast food giant founded on being affordable loses that core value, it loses its identity. Even Taco Bell's once celebrated engine of innovation appears to have sputtered to a halt. Bringing back old favorites like the Mexican pizza hardly moved the needle. Consumers are exhausted, financially strapped, and looking for reliability, not cheap tricks. The downfall of Taco Bell is more than just a business story. It hits home for many. It once stood for freedom, being young, and inexpensive happiness. Now, it's just another victim in an economy where a single taco can wreck your budget. Number 9. Popeyes. Do you recall the pandemonium back in 2019? The lines for a Popeyes chicken sandwich that stretched for miles. Jump to 2025, and that excitement has completely evaporated. Popeyes, which was once celebrated as America's most rapidly expanding chicken chain, is now confronting a severe downturn. Customer foot traffic has fallen by 15%, and sales at established stores dipped by 7% in the first 6 months of the year. The brand was hit hard by inflation. The signature combo that you could get for $6.99 now typically costs $11.79 in larger cities. A lot of patrons feel they can no longer rationalize paying fast food prices that are on par with sit-down dining. In the background, franchise owners are getting buried by costs. The price of cooking oil has shot up 32%, chicken is up 28%, and rent is through the roof. The company's reliance on hype-driven marketing has completely backfired. They offered too many temporary specials and not enough reliable deals. At the same time, their drive-thru service is one of the slowest in the business, and customer satisfaction ratings have sunk below 70%, based on a report from QSR magazine. Making matters worse, Popeye's ambitious international expansion diverted critical funds away from its struggling American locations. Now, store closures are rippling out from Louisiana to New York, with scores of restaurants either shuttered or on the brink of bankruptcy. For the American working class, Popeyes represented comfort food, that delicious, spicy, greasy reward at the end of a tough week. But here in 2025, it's become a splurge. The aroma of fried chicken that once signaled warmth and community now carries the scent of decline. Popeyes didn't just lose the sandwich wars. It lost its fight to remain a budget-friendly option in a nation that can no longer afford to eat out. Number 8. Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box was once the king of the late-night scene, offering cheap tacos, curly fries, and shakes to anyone up after midnight. But in 2025, those bright neon signs are dimming. More than 130 restaurants have closed in the last year alone, and a large number of the ones still operating are fighting to keep their lights on. Company financials show that late-night business, which used to account for 35% of all sales, has plummeted to a mere 18%. That isn't just a small dip, it's a total freefall. Inflation has transformed what was a $6 combo into a $10 meal, and with paychecks not keeping up, people just aren't buying it. The corporation's second quarter results for 2025 indicated a 9% fall in same-store sales, which is their most significant drop in a decade. Franchisees are livid, claiming corporate forced delivery apps on them that slash their profits and inflate prices for customers. On top of that, the brand is having a major identity crisis. It's attempting to take on McDonald's for breakfast, Taco Bell for late night, and Chick-fil-A for chicken, but it's striking out on all fronts. Customers are no longer sure what Jack in the Box is supposed to be. Even its dedicated late-night demographic of college kids and night shift workers has vanished, partly due to rising crime rates in certain neighborhoods. A lot of locations gave up their 24-hour service, which got rid of the one thing that made them unique. The demise of Jack in the Box isn't just about business, it's a cultural shift. It symbolizes how the American nightlife filled with affordable food, fun, and liberty is being crushed by the pressures of inflation and anxiety. The burger joint with the clown mascot that once brought smiles to America is now finding itself short on both time and patrons. Number 7. Dairy Queen. For countless people, Dairy Queen was the taste of childhood, an ice cream cone after school, or a blizzard on a scorching summer afternoon. But in 2025, that enchantment is quickly disappearing. The company's revenue has dropped a staggering 12% compared to last year, and over 200 stores have shut down across rural parts of the country. In small communities where DQ was often the only place for a sweet treat, closed for good signs now occupy the spots where the scent of joyful, soft serve used to be. The issue goes beyond just inflation. It's about staying relevant. National ice cream sales have dropped as households trim their budgets of non-essential spending. A medium blizzard that you could buy for $4.29 in 2019 now costs almost $7.25, driving away the working-class families that were its primary customer base. And while the corporate office pushed to modernize with things like mobile ordering and digital menus, franchise owners argue that these upgrades require tens of thousands of dollars they simply don't have. The crisis is being made worse by a severe lack of staff. Some locations can't even maintain their regular business hours, and customer service complaints have jumped by 40%. Industry experts note that profit margins have fallen to less than 4%, which makes it nearly impossible for franchisees to stay afloat. On an emotional level, it's a tough blow. Dairy Queen was more than just a place to eat. It was a feeling of nostalgia, the comfort of a small town, and childhood moments captured in a swirl of soft serve. But in 2025, sentimentality doesn't cover the rent. As American families find their finances squeezed and expenses rising, the nation's beloved ice cream chain is dissolving into the past, one unfilled cone at a time. Number 6. KFC. There was a time when KFC was the absolute monarch of fried chicken, a hallmark of crispy, savory American comfort food. But 2025 has been merciless. The company that once had over 4,400 restaurants in the U.S. has seen nearly 500 of them vanish in just a couple of years. In certain states, sales have plummeted by 15 to 20%, and franchise owners are walking away from their agreements as the costs of oil, chicken, and labor continue to climb. The classic $5 fill-up now costs close to $9.79, effectively alienating the very customers that KFC relied upon. Leaked internal documents from early 2025 reveal that the average number of customer visits was dropping by 10% each quarter, as rivals like Raising Cane's and Chick-fil-A capture the youth market with quicker service and cleaner stores. KFC's most significant shortcoming has been its inability to adapt. The chain's online sales are significantly behind its competitors, and its lack of menu creativity has failed to attract new demographics. To make matters worse, younger generations tend to view the brand as old-fashioned, a throwback from their grandparents' era. But there's a deeper sadness behind those statistics. For many years, a KFC bucket was a Sunday ritual, something to be shared around the family dinner table. Today, soaring prices have transformed that bucket from a staple into an indulgence. Households that used to mark their paydays with fried chicken are now opting for frozen substitutes from places like Walmart. The Colonel's cheerful face may still be on the billboards, but that smile conceals an empire crumbling under the weight of its own greasy past. The chicken is still crunchy, but the brand's future is completely torched. Number 5. Pizza Hut. Once the champion of family dinners and kids' birthday celebrations, Pizza Hut is now little more than a distant echo of red vinyl booths, checkered tablecloths, and that iconic aroma of a freshly baked pizza. Now, in 2025, the company is facing its most difficult test ever. Sales at existing locations have dropped by 8%, and more than 400 restaurants have been permanently closed in the last 18 months. Its dine-in restaurant model, which was once its greatest asset, has now become a massive financial burden pulling the company down. The core issue is that American dining culture evolved, but Pizza Hut remains stagnant. Fierce delivery rivals like Domino's, Papa John's, and a host of restaurants on DoorDash have completely erased its competitive pricing advantage. The familiar $10 any pizza promotion is now $16.99, and delivery charges add another $5 on top of that. For any family watching their expenses, that's just not a viable option. Even longtime patrons are complaining about getting less food for their money, slower delivery, and inflated prices. Franchise operators are in deep trouble as well. Their food expenses have risen by 30%, labor by 20%, and rent continues to increase everywhere. A great many have just given up. From an emotional standpoint, the decline of Pizza Hut hits hard. For many years, it was a symbol of family togetherness and the heart of small-town communities. Now, those once lively dining rooms are deserted, featuring little more than empty tables and forgotten salad bars. The unsteady glow of neon signs that evoke a simpler time in America, a time that's fading fast. The issue for Pizza Hut isn't merely a drop in revenue. It's the severing of a heartfelt connection forged with an entire generation. By 2025, the pizza itself hasn't changed, but that cherished, cozy feeling has completely disappeared. At number 4, we have Subway. It was once pitched as the go-to for a cheap, healthy meal, a fresh departure from the usual greasy fast food joints, yet by 2025, it represents one of the nation's most gut-wrenching business failures. Since 2021, more than 3,200 locations have disappeared, and it's anticipated that several hundred more will close their doors for good by the end of the year. This brand, once a fixture on practically every American street corner, now seems like a phantom, a casualty of reckless expansion, crippling inflation, and a fundamental loss of trust. The $5 footlong, which once stood as a national icon of affordability, is now priced at $10.79 in numerous outlets. The standard of the bread has dropped, the components are unreliable, and patrons are simply disgusted with what a market analyst termed the illusion of freshness. Numerous locations look tired and grim, with peeling signs and not enough employees to manage the registers. By 2025, even the hopeful messages coming from Subway's corporate headquarters sound insincere. The company's attempt to sell itself to a private equity firm has gone terribly wrong, saddling franchisees with overwhelming lease payments and plummeting sales figures. In the meantime, competing chains like Jersey Mike's and Firehouse Subs are siphoning away its clientele by providing higher quality ingredients and superior service. Subway's collapse is not merely a financial story, it's a cultural one. It used to represent a modern solution, quick, inexpensive meals for professionals and students. Now, it stands as a stark reminder of the consequences when corporate avarice gets ahead of quality control. The bread may still be baking, but the company's spirit is charred. The failure of Subway is bigger than the collapse of one sandwich franchise. It signifies the end of the dream of a budget-friendly lunch in America. Coming in at number 3, Burger King. Once, Burger King stood as McDonald's sole serious competitor, a spirited challenger with its signature have-it-your-way confidence. Fast forward to 2025, and that flame-grilled dynasty is on the verge of collapse. The corporation has publicized the closure of more than 400 locations, and its share of the American market has fallen to less than 9%, its weakest position in decades. Runaway inflation has decimated its reputation for being affordable. A Whopper combo, which you could once buy for $6.29, now costs around $11.49, and numerous working-class families, who were once its most loyal customers, have ceased visiting altogether. Compounding the problem, its previously audacious marketing initiatives are now failing to connect, lost amidst a wave of customer complaints about the speed of service, unclean dining areas, and diminishing portion sizes. The company's internal conflicts are intense. Franchise operators are begging for corporate assistance after showing a financial loss for several consecutive months. By 2025, scores of Burger King restaurants had gone into bankruptcy, with notable clusters in Ohio, Michigan, and Florida. Corporate leadership attributes the failures to inefficient operations, but the workforce points the finger at gross mismanagement and greed. The erosion of Burger King's cultural significance is even more profound. For generations, it symbolized a form of rebellion, the one place where you could personalize your order, stand out, and follow your own rules. Today, however, that very essence has disappeared. Its affordable, flame-broiled identity has evaporated into a cloud of corporate nothingness. While McDonald's revamps its strategy and Wendy's undergoes modernization, Burger King appears trapped in a time warp, defined by its aging locations, old-fashioned menus, and declining significance. The crown may gleam in commercials, but inside the restaurants, the empire has crumbled. In 2025, the country's second-largest burger dynasty is silently turning into the industry's newest specter. Moving on to number 2, Wendy's. For decades, Wendy's held its place as the self-possessed member of America's big 3 burger chains, the refreshingly direct brand that lived by the motto, "Quality is our recipe." But by 2025, Wendy's is finding it impossible to weather the economic tempest that's consuming the fast food sector. Foot traffic in established stores has declined by 6.3% from the previous year, and franchise owners are closing locations at a rate that outpaces their ability to renovate. Already, more than 140 restaurants nationwide have shut their doors for good, while numerous others are claiming their profit margins are no longer viable. The financial data reveals a grim reality. The iconic $4 for $4 special, which once anchored Wendy's value offerings, is now priced at almost $7.99. Furthermore, the cherished Frosty, which was once an easy 99-cent pleasure, now costs twice as much. For a working parent looking to feed a couple of kids, Wendy's is no longer an accessible treat. It has become an unaffordable indulgence. Behind the smiling, pigtail-wearing mascot, there's a perfect storm of trouble. Beef prices have jumped by 24%, fees from delivery apps are carving away at earnings, and corporate headquarters is pushing for costly technological modernizations. Franchise operators are publicly voicing their discontent, protesting that corporate's push for innovation isn't helping them stay afloat financially. But the brand's cultural unraveling is even more serious. Wendy's reputation was founded on dependability, real beef, quality produce, and a straightforward promise. Now, the brand is ridiculed online for its noticeably smaller burgers and limp fries. The Frosty might look perfect in the ads, but the soul of the company, the simple, hometown integrity it once embodied, is dissolving under the immense pressure of inflation and a sense of corporate weariness. By 2025, a visit to Wendy's feels impersonal, hollow, and tragically out of sync with the nation it was built to serve. The girl with the red pigtails is still smiling on the cups, but her customers are not. And at number 1, McDonald's. It seems impossible, yet it's a fact. The largest fast food corporation on the planet is beginning to buckle under the strain. This global symbol of value and ease is now seriously faltering. In 2025, customer traffic in the United States has plummeted by close to 10%, and even the corporation's own leadership acknowledges that lower-income patrons have drastically cut back. For a business model founded on mass appeal, that's a devastating blow. The once famous dollar menu has vanished. Value meals now cost, on average, $11.79. And a Big Mac, which was priced at $3.99 in 2019, now fetches close to $7.49. Families that previously counted on McDonald's for a quick and easy meal are now labeling it as excessively priced for a fast food establishment. Compounding the issue, a 2024 E. coli contamination tied to the chain's onions sent more than 100 people to the hospital, which further wore away at the public's confidence. Franchise operators are also enraged. Soaring expenses for rent, labor, and supplies have stripped their profits down to the bare minimum. The company's new digital ordering stations and artificial intelligence drive-through services designed to bring the brand into the modern era are instead pushing away elderly customers and causing technological havoc. On a cultural level, the breakdown of McDonald's is deeply emblematic. For decades, it was a stand-in for the American dream, offering inexpensive food, vibrant lights, and a comforting community space. But in 2025, it serves as a reflection of a failing economy, characterized by deserted play areas and less brilliant golden arches, and escalating prices that reveal a reality most people would rather ignore. The idea that McDonald's is immune to recessions is no longer true. The arches continue to shine, but their light now signals nostalgia instead of happiness. The burgers are still served fresh off the grill, and the fries retain their signature saltiness, but the soul of the company has vanished. The country's most well-known comfort has turned into a painful symbol of how out of reach comfort itself now is.